Hello and welcome to the channel. It has emerged in a report that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, currently in France for a summit by world leaders hosted by the French president, is actually trying to use one stone to kill two birds, as he is also scheduled for his regular medical checkup. This was evident in his absence at the live economic session, where he asked Nigeria's ambassador to France to represent him so that he fit sneak in his appointment. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you. Tinubu failed to join live economic session on stage at Paris summit. Delegates tasked to Nigerian ambassador. President Bola Tinubu was represented by the Nigerian ambassador to France in a live economic session at the ongoing summit of world leaders in Paris. The People's Gazette reported on Thursday that Tinubu asked the ambassador to represent him instead, even though his office had announced that he was in France to attend the summit and participate in a debate about Africa's economic prospects. Sahara reporters exclusively at the weekend reported that Tinubu would engage on his first official trip as Nigerian president since his May 29 inauguration this week. However, top sources in the presidency also revealed that the president's visit was also a strategy to see his team of medical doctors. Bat is to attend the Global Financing Pact Summit in Paris, France, next week. This will be his first official trip outside Nigeria since his assumption of duty as president, one of the top sources disclosed on Saturday. The trip is to check his health too. It is a strategy to go to hospital, another source noted. Sahara reporters had weeks ago reported how Tinubu, after the May 29 swearing-in, became exhausted and traveled to France to seek medical care. Sahara reporters had also exclusively reported that Tinubu returned to France to see his doctors weeks before his inauguration on May 29. Meanwhile, the new Global Financing Pact Summit is a two-day event at Palais Brongniart in Paris. An organizer said it was aimed at finding efficient solutions to reduce poverty and the adverse effects of climate change on the world's financial system. Tinubu was scheduled to join other participants on stage at 6 p.m. local time, 7 p.m. in Nigeria on Thursday, with his aides saying he was fully prepared for the event as his first since becoming president on May 29, the People's Gazette reports. However, President Tinubu was represented by the Nigerian ambassador, Adamu Ahmed, who was on stage with David Craig, co-chair of the Task Force on Nation-Related Financial Disclosures (TNFD), Mark Carney of the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero (GFANZ), Mary Shapiro of Global Public Policy at Bloomberg, Sabine Modera of the Network for Greening the Financial System, and United Nations Special Envoy Catherine McKenna. In a prepared speech, Mr. Ahmed said, "We believe we have more pressing social issues in Africa. The argument has been that world leaders should elevate social issues just like environmental issues. I must commend President Macron, who has brought the issue of poverty to the table. This summit is about climate, people, and diversity. The severe financial and economic crisis that African countries found themselves in after Corona pandemic is all over. There are economic difficulties, and we've all realized that public resources would no longer solve the problem. We need to track private capital, and for us to track the capital, and we need to compete with other countries around the world. It is no longer business as usual for African countries. We now need to join the discourse. We need to compete with the rest of the world. We welcome the idea of President Macron to develop Net Zero Data Public Utility, NZDPU, because we feel it is an open, free repository that will greatly help African countries. The message from the African continent is that we are on board. We want to join the international community. We are now seeing movement from mere commitments to concrete transition plans. For example, in Nigeria, we enacted the Climate Change Act in 2021, which enables us to establish the Climate Change Council in which the President Tinubu is the head. It enables us to establish a climate change fund, our national action plan on climate change, which clearly rails our roadmap to the net zero target. We put our target to 2060 because we are aware of the enormous challenges we are confronting. We have tried to form regional partnerships as African countries. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and please turn the notification bell on. Thank you. Meanwhile, in other news and back on the home front, on May 29, 2023, a new era began in Nigeria. Former President Muhammadu Buhari handed over power to the February 25th presidential election winner, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Buhari enjoyed 8 years in office and vacated Aso Rock with some of his campaign promises, including dealing with insecurity. However, just like other presidential candidates in the 2023 election, Tinubu, a former governor of Lagos State, boasted about dealing with the insecurity fought halfway by the Buhari administration if elected into office. Like his predecessor, Tinubu has assured Nigerians of maximum protection of their lives and properties. He promised to use his magic wand to put behind the insurgency in the country while still addressing other challenges bedeviling the country before and when he assumed office. Tinubu also assured Nigerians of renewed hope, and with his few days in office, many citizens have been singing praises of the Nigerian leader. Where did Buhari get it wrong? The government of President Muhammadu Buhari did its best in curtailing insecurity across the country. At the time the government came into power, the major area of concern was the Northeast, though there were activities around the Northwest and North Central, but they were small. So the government came into power with the mind to stem the insurgency in the Northeast, but the government wasn't prepared for banditry within the country. Nigerian security and intelligence expert of repute, Dr. Oluwaseyi Adetayo, said during an interview with Niger News. Dr. Adetayo, sharing further his depth of knowledge on the nation's security situation under Buhari, said, "I will say that while the government had in mind what the problem was at the time it was coming into power, it was less prepared to curtail the problem when it came into power. It was more of the government believing that within 3 months or 6 months, with a stern directive and supervision, the problem could be solved. Unfortunately, the reality dawned on the government, and the gravity of the reality was that of a problem that if you are not properly prepared, you cannot curtail." That's the news, guys. Thanks for listening. Until next time. Bye.